Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am back today with another video, but it is not your normal hair tutorial video. It is a video on what? That's right, anxiety. If you want to know more about what we're talking about, what triggers are, what coping mechanisms, what I do to help with mine on a daily basis, which is a struggle, stay tuned and keep watching. Okay, one thing's for certain and one thing's for real. Like, we cannot self-diagnose ourselves. We can talk about things that we think are the cause of problems you may have, but don't self-diagnose yourself. I was diagnosed with anxiety at an early age, okay? I have multiple triggers and past traumas that have made me anxious, okay? I have coped with it throughout my lifetime by doing things to block creative outlets. It's basically ignoring it. I do this thing with my fingers. I pick my fingers. That's one of my things that I do when I'm anxious. I do it inadvertently. I don't even realize I'm doing it most of the time. And it's uncontrollable at most times. I've had my friends, family be like, Tiffany, stop doing that. You're messing up your hands. You're messing up your fingers. And it's hard for me because that's one of my things that I do when I'm anxious. It's considered self-harm. It's self-harm because I know I do it. And when I realize I'm doing it, sometimes I can't stop doing it, especially if my anxiety has heightened to a degree that it's like I can't control it. My coping mechanisms used to work for years. Well, I thought they were working. Doing something else, blocking it, focusing on other things, helped with that. I got older, it got worse and worse. I went to nursing school and my anxiety tripled. And I didn't realize I had it that bad until my professor was like, hey, you may want to take something for it. And I was like, I'm not taking no medication because as a Black person, a person of color, a person of any color, we don't really, therapy and medication for mental issues is taboo. Like, you crazy if you have to do that, So I was like, no, I could cope. I'll just figure out different ways to cope, And that's what I did. Rest that I need so that I can complete the nursing course. I was drinking wine on my last days of clinicals to calm me down. I still do wine and candles to help calm me down and reset my mind at night after a really overstimulating day. But I realized I can't do that all the time. I've been doing it more than usual, especially with COVID, because quarantine had your girl effed up, you know what I'm saying? But I decided to start therapy. I really started therapy around the time my friend passed away I used to work with. Triggered me, I think, also because one of the reasons why I went to nursing school was because, my grandmother was not taken care of properly in the hospital, which ended up in her untimely death. The medical professionals did what they were supposed to do, give her the proper medication and all that. I would say she wouldn't have maybe passed away, or she would have had more of a chance. Because I can't say what God's timing is God's timing. I don't know if she would have survived, if they would have done what they were supposed to do, but I want to say that I think that she would have, So I went to nursing school because of that. So I am a huge patient advocate, and it is a trigger for administration, okay? Because I'm not going to do things that can have an adverse outcome to patients in the healthcare field. That's just that. If I think the patient needs to be transferred out, they going out. You know what I'm saying? So it became a problem, and they considered me as like a problem child because I stood up and I fought for what I believe is right and all that other stuff. So I was aggressive. And you got to remember, I'm from New York, so I'm passionate. When I'm passionate, I'm like a little aggressive. I talk with my hands or whatever. And this is the South, and they're like, oh, she's aggressive. Oh, she's that stereotypical Black girl. So I had a lot of going on with my work, right? Still work there though. And I'm PRN. I come and go as I please and as needed for my mental stuff, for my mental health. So that job was giving me triggers, okay? And then my friend passed away, and that triggered me because it was also the same thing. It was kind of neglectful. He was sick at work. And I'll keep it at that, because if the family wanted the world to know, the world would know, you know? So I'm gonna just keep it at that. And I just believe that had people did their jobs, my friend would still be alive. So it was a huge trigger, and I have trouble going into work at times, and my anxiety is bad at work. So I don't go as often as I used to. Therapy, and my therapist and I have spoke about a lot of things. What triggers me? What do you think caused your anxiety? And I really think therapy is amazing. Even if you feel like you don't have any issues that you need to unpack, therapy is something that everybody needs to have. Like they have the internal medicine doctor, like they have their gynecologist, like they got their gastroenterologist, like they got their dermatologist. I can keep going if you want me to. Nah, you cool? Not cool? Okay. But just like that, you should have a therapist. It will help you understand your mind and heart and the way you feel. Getting your feelings out there is something that is important. You may think like, oh, I pray to Jesus, that's enough. Yeah, Jesus is enough. But sometimes we need a little bit more. And Jesus can work through other people. Always remember that from my spiritual folks out there. So yeah, I am on the road to becoming a better me. Your triggers are your unsolved problems. You hear me?
Your triggers are your unsolved problems.
And what triggers you is not another person's problem. That's your problem. The journey of being a better you is unpacking and healing. And when you heal from things, a lot of things won't bother you that other people do, that other people say. Once you own who you are, what other people have to say, especially if it's something from your past that you've been through, that you healed from, be like, I healed from that. I own it. You can't hurt me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a whole process, and you don't realize how important it is until you get older and you find yourself debilitated and crippled from your anxiety. And anxiety is crippling, because I'm a person who looks to the future. I'm a person that's so ambitious, so passionate. So my anxiety is on a whole nother level, because anxiety comes from looking too far into the future sometimes too. And I want to be the calm person, like, I'm just winging life. I do as you go and whatever. But the honest truth is, I want to succeed. And I had to sit back and be like, Tiffany, you will succeed. Just take one thing at a time. Focus on you. And that's what I've been doing. I haven't been pushing out as many videos as I was in the beginning of my YouTube journey, because YouTube is always going to be there. And to be honest with you, I want to give you guys valuable content that I believe that other people are struggling with. I have anxiety. I'm Tiffany. I have anxiety. I own it. It's something that I go through. It's a struggle every day. Some days it's worse than others. I start speaking fast when I can't get all my thoughts out there. I have so much going on in my mind, and I cannot get it to stop. It just keeps going. Even when I'm asleep, I'm thinking about things. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about things. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know if any of you struggle with it, but it's a lot. And it could be so crippling. It's so crippling. And then, your past traumas. On top of that, some people have anxiety. Some people have anxiety, depression. Some people have anxiety, bipolarism. Some people have anxiety and schizophrenia. It's a lot. It's a lot. And a lot of people are walking around undiagnosed with a lot of things that they're going through. One of the huge things that I worked on this year and last year was creating strong boundaries, so that people know when you have boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. Okay? If they cannot respect your boundaries, then even if you love them, they got to go. Whether it be, I love you, but from a distance. That don't mean they got to be like X'd out of your life, but I love you, but from a distance. I pray for you from a distance. You can't take on everybody's shit. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I had to learn. I had to realize that when people show you who they are, believe them. Even though I believe everybody has good in them, I can still believe that, because I still do believe everybody has good in them, but not everybody is good for you. So that's something that I had to work on, and I'm still working on. I'm a work in progress with that, because I see it as this. I go through a lot emotionally. I may say things, not that I don't mean, but it may not, the delivery wouldn't be the best, and I wouldn't want nobody to judge me and write me off. So I try to understand why people do things, and that may be the nursing. I also used to be a psychological nurse, so I kind of like, I have like that empathy for people, you know? So I'm learning boundaries with that. I'm learning that you can love someone, but you don't have to take on all of their problems. You can still be there for people, but you can still have a device where it's like, you can still have a sense where it's like, I'm here for you. I'm listening. You want my advice? I'll give you the advice. But then I gotta leave it where it's at. I take on people's problems and I feel for them. And I'm sad now because you're sad, and I'm an empath. So it becomes a problem. It becomes a huge problem. So I'm learning how to distance myself a little bit, where I'm not taking on everybody's issues, because when you're that go-to person, it's draining, and sometimes you're not in a place where you can deal with other people's issues because you got your own issues. Then I gotta leave your problems where it's at, because it affects me. It affects me in a way that it's negative. And anything negatively that affects me, I have to figure out how to balance that. So my goal in therapy is to learn to heal from my past traumas, to talk about a lot of traumas that I've never spoke about with my family, to learn how to cope with my anxiety, basically learn how to effectively deal with people. I am blunt, outspoken, and sometimes even aggressive when I speak, and this is based off of what I've heard from other people. My delivery, the content of my delivery may be great, but the delivery may not be always great, because I have this thing where I talk with my hands. I may even get loud, but that's not meaning I'm screaming at you. I'm just trying to get my point across. So I'm learning how to make sure my delivery is more effective. I'm good at reevaluating myself. I don't blame everybody else. That victim blaming, I don't blame everybody else for my transaction with them. I could have bad vibes off of a certain person all the time, and I'll still look past it, and then after a while I'm like, you ain't for me. I'm a huge work in progress. Huge. And I ain't denying that. And I just want to bring you guys on my journey with anxiety and just growing into the woman that I know God has intended me to be. And I hope that helps other people realize that they're enough, whether it be they have other issues or other diagnosis or whatever the case may be. You're still enough. That doesn't stop you from being an amazing person, and you're not the only one out there dealing with it. We are all dealing with some type of chemical imbalance that is undiagnosed. So don't ever think that you are different from someone to the degree where you're this cliche or you're just this statistic. We are Black women. We are magical. We are amazing. And it is okay to go to therapy. It is okay to take medication if you need it for coping. And it is okay to be you. That's you. That's who you are. That's a part of your journey, and it will help. And I'm doing this to help a fellow sister out there. If I even reach 1 or 2 people, that's why I do what I do. If I am reaching other women and inspiring you to go out there to make sure that you are healthy, not only physically, but mentally, then I have done my job. That's one of my callings as a person. I'm a people person. I'm a nurturer. I'm loving. I'm an empath. I'm crazy. I'm silly. I have a good time, but I also have anxiety. So if there's anything else that you guys want to share or hear from me, or things that you want to know that I do to help myself, and there may be a part 2. Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. And like always, make sure you like and subscribe if you like what you see here. And there'll be another hair video very soon. But we had to talk some real stuff today. So thank you for watching.